what you are worth. This is one of the biggest complaints I get from my clients. When they meet me, they will often complain, which by the way is a very healthy and warranted complaint, that I don't understand. I have the credentials, I have the expertise, I have the certifications, I have the right degree, I have literally all the right bells and whistles on my resume, and it looks so good, and it's bedazzled, but I'm still not getting paid what I deserve, what I am worth. What's going on here? And very often, these people will wonder, why is it that the promotions go to other people? Why is it that I'm always overlooked for the raise? Why is it that people that are maybe half as smart, half as hardworking, half as generous, half as capable, why are they getting ahead? What's going on here? Well, like I said, this is a very healthy, useful, and important question to ask. And I want to share in this video what nobody tells you about this, because I'm going to show you what are some of the ways people think on how this is a problem, and then this is how they try to fix it, when actually these things are what I call an illusion, or they're often kind of like, you've heard this terminology, barking up the wrong tree, right? And I don't want you to waste your time, money, energy barking up the wrong tree, because again, you will waste a lot of precious time. So I want to share what are some of these people that they know they deserve to get paid more, they deserve so much better, they should be further along, they deserve to have more happiness, more joy, more success, more fulfillment, more inner peace, more confidence, and most importantly, more income. And yet on paper, it doesn't reflect that. Okay, so number one, first of all, congratulations for the fact that we even have this conversation. You should be so proud of yourself, because let's just say 80% of the people are probably either not even bothered about it, or maybe they're bothered, but they're like, whatever. And most importantly, really are not even willing to look at what's really going on. They're not willing to experience the pain, the frustration about this. And look, the truth is, this is not an easy realization to have, but we can't fix something we don't understand. We can't fix something we're not willing to look at. So for the fact that you have given yourself permission to look at, wait a minute, resume says this, bank account says wah. That already tells me you are a leader, you have courage, you have clarity, which is gold. Because only leaders, only people who are leaders, warriors in their life, have the willingness to look at the uncomfortable facts. So you already get 100 points for that. Because there are plenty of people who are living in denial, who just keep kicking the can further down the road, and sort of like have this mentality, maybe hopefully one day, something will change. Well, guess what if that day never comes? And what if you have to be the change? What if you get to be the change that will make the change, that will cause the change? And that's what I'm a big fan of, because typically people obviously will only work with me when they are willing to take responsibility, the ability to respond in their life. Those are the movers, the shakers, the leaders, the warriors. Period. End of story. So, couple of things, 7 things on what not the problem is, where often people think, okay, number one, they think they're not getting paid what they deserve because they think they need another certification. They need another degree. They need more experience. They need more expertise. They need to study harder. They need to invest more time into, and then maybe hopefully one day they will feel like they are the expert. Well, that's an illusion, because look, reminder, you are sitting on a gold mine. How do I know? Because you are the gold mine. How do I know? Because you have already jumped through all kinds of hoops to get to where you are, which tells me, and you more importantly, you already are expert enough. You already have enough information, enough credentials, enough experience on serving the people that you are here to serve. True or true? Exactly. So let's not fool ourselves thinking that that next certification, that next course, that next milestone is somehow going to make you feel like, okay, now you're going to ask for more. It doesn't happen that way. It's just like chasing shiny objects that are not even worth chasing. Okay, number two. Now, this is, of course, if you're in the service industry, okay? If you are somebody, for example, you are providing a service, an important service to your clients. And if you have maybe come to the conclusion in a weird, distorted way, people don't have the money. Hold on, put the brakes on that statement. Hold on, hold on. Have you ever met a person who has 3 days of toothache and literally they just don't even know what to do with themselves anymore? They finally go to the dentist and the dentist tells them, oh, okay, look, good news, bad news. This is a root canal. There's a couple of other complications, but it's going to cost you $900. Have you ever met a person who said, no, I'm good. I don't have the money. I'll come back in 7 years and then maybe then we can. Or have you ever met a person who went to the doctor and the doctor discovered, oh, you need a stent. If we don't do that, you're going to have a heart attack. And yes, insurance covers some of it, but it's actually a $15,000, thing, and it's going to cost you $8,000. Have you ever met a person that says, no, you know what? I don't have the money. I can't afford it. It's too much. Or have you ever met a homeowner? Their roof is leaking. Now there's damage in all the bedrooms, all 3 bedrooms. And they're like, oh my dear, we have to call a roofer. So we call the roofer. The roofer comes and says, okay, look, 2 options. You can work with Joe Schmo cheap. He will probably tell you there's a $5,000 damage. And by the way, he'll just sort of patch things up. Looks shiny, shiny on the outside. But what he will not tell you is which is $20,000. But here's the thing. You don't ever have to worry about leakage again. You don't ever have to worry about mold. You don't ever have to worry about cracks in the ceiling. You don't ever have to worry, whatever. I'm not a roofer, right? And that roofer is like, well, then it's going to cost you $18,000. Have never met a homeowner who said, I don't have the money. Not having the money and not being willing to pay for it is 2 different things. And they, guess what? They find the money. So this is about priorities. This is about, this is about education, right? Because if we as the expert are not able to explain to the client, right, what the ramifications of not paying for this repair, for this service, what's going to happen down the line, that isn't it going to cost you so much more? So not having the money that's a lie. Because people who notice that there's a big emergency where there's, they will find the money. I promise you. I've never worked with a person who told me I can't find the money. Maybe I don't have the money, yes, but people can be very, very resourceful. So, number 3, some professionals, business owners, CEOs will say, well, I need to work harder and then I will get paid. I just need to show up more. I need to hustle mentality, right? And by the way, that only leads to burnout, and it just leads to a body breaking down. It leads to more stress. It leads to more exhaustion. It leads to more depletion. And when you meet people that have bought into this hustle culture mentality, right? The whole David Goggins thing. Well, when you have a conversation with them, you will see what's really going on in their life. Number 1, it causes big, big problems in their relationships. They turn into a workaholic. Now, they might eventually get paid, but their lifestyle went down, their health went down tremendously, their relationships have disappeared. And so, is that really working, this whole working harder? How about working smarter? Could we replace that? Number 4, they think, falsely, of course, they need to prove themselves. Hey, if only my boss sees how hard I work, if only my team members, right? If only I do this, then I will finally get the praise and the promotion and, the commotion and all those things. And if only I bend over backwards, then maybe, hopefully, again, one day. Well, how has that been working out for you? Maybe that happens in school when you were still rewarded with grades. Right? But even there, you had to raise your hand. Sound familiar? And then number 5, one of my favorites, I don't want to sound greedy. I don't want to be greedy. That makes absolutely no sense. That's like saying, oh, you know what? I shouldn't be greedy. So, you know what I'm going to do? I'm only going to breathe in and out 3 times per minute. And I'm going to be very, very calculated to make sure nobody else is missing out on oxygen. I'm going to only breathe in 3 times per minute while Oprah gets to breathe in and out 300 times per minute. Would that be fair allocation? And remember, greedy is a judgment call. Who's making the judgment call? And is greedy really what we're after, or is it that we want to get paid what we deserve? And speaking of the gold mine, think about how much time, money, energy have you invested into your education, into counting on yourself, banking on yourself? How many hours have you devoted to become the expert you are, only to now not get paid? That's what I mean by you're sitting on a gold mine. It makes no sense. You didn't jump through all these hoops to now not get paid what you're worth. It just makes no sense, does it? You deserve to get paid generously. And I'm going to show you how to do that, although I have a client in a few minutes, so I got to hurry up here. Now, another thing people think is they need more confidence. So it may seem, and yes-ish, I can sort of align with you. This does have a little bit to do with self-worth and self-esteem and self-confidence, but it's probably not what you think. And number 7, finally, people think they need a better strategy. They need a better plan. Okay, hold on, stop right there. Because do you know people who try to convince you, I really want to lose weight, but I can't stop eating at night. I really want to get fit, but I can't bring myself to go to the gym. Is this for lack of a strategy? Because here's the thing, there's $1 billion industry about diet books, and there's how many diet books? So the plan is there, and it has worked for other people. True or not true? So the strategy is probably working because it has worked for other people. So it's not the strategy. And finally, my last and most favorite, this is the bonus, number 8, I'm not good at sales, or I'm not good at self-promotion. All right, now we're starting to get into something important because, and that may be accurate, but what might cause an expert like you, somebody who has worked so hard to get to where you are the gold mine, remember? You already have everything you need to be successful, like everything. And by the way, this is knowledge, wisdom, information, skills nobody can ever take away from you, like nobody. This is something you already own. You have embodied. You have literally put your blood, sweat, and tears. How many tests have you passed? So just take a look at the value of that. My question would be, what is causing somebody like you, somebody like a lot of my clients, to believe that I'm not a good salesperson, I'm not good at self-promotion? Now is when it gets interesting, because this is when we need to understand something very, very important. This is what nobody explains to you. You don't learn this in college. No degree is made about this. School doesn't teach you this. No high school, no private school, no religion, no system, no politics. You don't learn this anywhere. You learn this with your hypnotist, okay? And this is what I'm about to share with you. You need to understand your brain, your mind is like a computer. And from the time you were a little child, especially the first 8-10 years of your life, you were programmed with a lot of beliefs. And those beliefs, it's not that they're good or bad, but some of those beliefs have actually caused you to start to believe money is bad, success is for greedy people, I shouldn't ask for much, who do I think I am, I'm not good enough, or money doesn't grow on trees, or something like that. And now those beliefs stay with you. And even though now you're an adult, and now you have all these degrees, and you've worked so hard to get to where you are, those beliefs didn't get an upgrade yet. And those beliefs are still trying to convince you, which, by the way, they're deeply embedded in the subconscious. And that's why most people don't even know. It's not obvious. It's not blatant. It's not like out there in the open. It is deeply buried in your subconscious. And this is what controls every human being. And until and unless we go inside and identify what is it that is actually controlling you, what are those beliefs and those emotions that are controlling you, this is what causes these money blocks. This is what causes these self-esteem issues, which really have nothing to do with your self-worth. It have all to do with how you perceive your self-worth. You see, it's about perception. And if you fundamentally believe that you're not good enough, that you will never amount to anything, that you are a loser, that you're a failure, that everybody else is much smarter than you, that all these other people are better in math, in numbers, in art, then that is what is controlling you. And so this is where I explain to my clients, you see, what we need to do here is update your subconscious, because it's the subconscious that gets triggered. Anytime you want to ask for money or you want to ask for that raise, you get triggered in your nervous system. And this is, you might have heard the term in this day and age, a lot of people talk about it, the dysregulated nervous system. That's what they're talking about, where it's like things just don't add up, right? Part of you is like, I really want to be successful, but an other part of you has a very interesting, difficult relationship with money, where you don't feel like you're worthy, or you shouldn't ask for that much, or that you're not good at sales, which really, this is a direct reflection. What are those beliefs that are deeply ingrained in your subconscious? Once we update and upgrade, then you can finally feel like you're in alignment. You are finally able to have the self-confidence, the self-esteem, the self-worth that you already have, except that it's, right now it's buried underneath all of the stress. And that's the difference that makes the difference. So can you now see why this has nothing to do with look, nothing wrong with growing and learning and wanting to expanding, and especially mind, right? Totally. We always like to learn. That's just human nature. Every single human being salivates over learning and growing for the most part. I mean, obviously there's like the 80% who just are happy with the status quo, but that's not you, right? You are somebody, you have already identified, I'm not getting paid what I deserve. You already have higher standards than most of the population. You already have, think about the quality of education you have signed up for. And that in itself just logically shows us that you deserve to get paid. But remember, this is not a logical problem. This is a biological problem. And until we fix the biology of this, the things that are trapped in your nervous system, the beliefs the emotions that are in there, then life is not going to change, and your conversations are not going to change, and how you put yourself out there isn't going to change, and how people see you isn't going to change, and how you're going to be perceived isn't going to change. But once we handle this, once we fix this, success follows, income follows, happiness follows, joy follows. You finally get to look in the mirror and just be so proud of yourself. And like, this is where that they talk about self-love, and people are like, I don't know how to love myself. Yeah, no kidding. Because you might still believe some very distorted, dysfunctional things about yourself that they try to drill into your mind before the age of 8 that are just simply completely inaccurate. That was just somebody's opinion. And you don't need to live under the regime of those opinions anymore. So needless to say, look, if you want to have a conversation with me, you want to really get rid of these subconscious blocks, that's what I call them. Most people have about 7, but there's a free guide. I should probably put it in the comments. But if you are interested in continuing this conversation and really fixing this for one, it's really just 3 simple steps. Book a call, we come up with a plan. Number 3, you get to walk away with the best version of you, which of course will change everything in your life. Thanks for being in my community, and I'll see you soon. Take care.